Welcome to the FPL USA Press Play Podcast. You got Bucks and Brian. We're strapped in and all ready to record an excellent piece of some FPL content. We're both coming off the backs of successful wildcards-ish. Mostly for me, the ish. For you, the dream season, the campaign to the clouds continues. Brian, best manager on this humble program. How the hell are you?
Doing well, Bucks. Great to have FPL back after a multiple week hiatus, but then everything went into a tailspin from the FA Cup weekend to Monday when all these rumors were floating around about Kluivert, and then all of a sudden both of us ended up on wildcard. So it was so weird to not think about FPL for like 12 days, and then all of a sudden to get all this news, Haaland injury, Kluivert not showing up. Had multiple guys like Chris Wood in my side, not playing Mikalenko flagged, and then both of us just ended up on wildcard. So, it never feels good to be rushed into a wild card, but I can confirm the green arrows are still coming my way, and I am inside the top 2,000 overall. Dream season for sure, and that's where my team name, Son of Destiny, is really coming to fruition this year.
Yeah, it might not be the season for Heung-min Son, who I know you're humbly naming that after two Spurs lads, even though you're reportedly a Chelsea fan. But listen, I'm all smiles today. Chelsea get the 3 points in the London Derby.
Yes, sir.
And listen, this is the stretch run right now. It's the most important time of the season in the Premier League. Also for all FPL managers in the hashtag FPL community, far and wide here at home in the States. If you're a member of the hashtag FPL USA community, hats off to you. It's been a little bit of a fun transition with the midweek matches to get us back into the flow of things for game week 30. So I think with that, we both wildcarded, both on green arrows. Mine much more small in size and stature than yours.
Yeah, let me pull up your
take
team
it
here, Bucks.
Yeah, I end up on 52 points. Now, my team was in a pretty bad way coming into this draft. I had 0 Crystal Palace players, 0 Newcastle players, 0 just Gabriel from the Arsenal, and we had reports that we were going to be getting double game week 33 confirmed based on the back of some FA Cup results. Now, I also had Haaland, who was injured, Chris Wood, who was injured, Dango, who was the kind of out of favor Bournemouth midfielder, Nwaneri, who I expected would now be benched with Saka reported to be back fit. So I had a cornucopia of issues in my squad. That's not even to mention my rank, which was, pretty abysmal. I'm hovering around the 1 million mark. So it's not been a great season for my team. And, my ambition of finishing top 100K is probably out the door. That being said, I wanted to just spice it up. So
you're basically trying to just beat my rank last year, where I was doing all kinds of Bucks wild shit and captaining Odegaard multiple times and going triple Arsenal attack when everyone's got double defense and doing stuff like that. So I was at 420K last season. That was by far my worst season ever. So now that's the marker. You got to beat that with the run-in coming up.
You heard here first that the gauntlet has been thrown, and that's a fun number. It's not
it's relevant.
It's not quite number one in the world. But if I landed at 420,000, that would be a symbolic nature of a season gone up in flames, so to speak.
Nailed it.
So, yeah, I wildcarded. The real issue with wildcarding in game week 30 from where I'm sitting, again, you're having a great season, so you're already really high in the ranks. So for many managers, wildcarding in game week 30 from a position of strength, you're really just thinking about maximizing shield potential. How many players could really hurt you. For my perspective, it was unfortunate because I'm kind of been bullied into a very generic, a very template looking team, just trying to get players that have extra fixtures in place for my squad where I don't have tons of free transfers. I don't have tons of team value. So I think I navigated it kind of as best as I could. I was never thinking about not having Gabriel on my team. And of course, he goes down injured in the first 15 minutes. So,
Ugh.
whatever. Long story short, 52 points, small green arrow all out. I'll take it and run, but I'm going to have free transfers. I'm trying to start building those up. But with Gabriel injured, we'll see. We'll talk about it a little later, whether that's a player that you just need to rip out right away, as he's confirmed to be injured and out for the remainder of the season. Let's talk a little bit more about your team, Brian. I think all the listeners are here to, throw flowers and confetti into the air on your behalf. And, you're inside the top 2,000 in the world. There's 11 million managers. I mean, I'm not very good at math, but I know that's even better than, fractions of a percent. You're just in the true elite category right now. And I think you're number one when I check the app on all the content creators that are putting out regular FPL content. We're number one. I'm going to lump myself in with you. We're number one. We're number one.
Yeah.
We love that.
Man. It's, let's see. I think the final rank according to FPL Game Week right now is 1,927 in the world. So wildcarded, when you were talking about the generic template, it is unfortunate for both of us to have been forced into wildcard. I was really shooting for wildcard 31, but with the Haaland news and then Kluivert, I was just in a position where Wood was out as well. I would have to take a hit to get Isak and Mateta. And then lo and behold, Tuesday morning, have my first meeting at 9 a.m. I got about 45 minutes of wild card, and I just pulled the trigger. And that was it was a little bit of a, I've been listening to a few podcasts on Monday and tuned into the FPL Wire and a few other shows that I really rate. But I felt like at my rank, I just wanted to make sure that I was swimming with the crowd and that I could have a few differential picks in my side due to my high team value. I mean, my team value was like 106 million. And so I cashed some of that in. Long stays in my team like Wood, Bumo. I sold those guys and I was able to afford the likes of Foden in my midfield. And man, I got some jam, that's for sure. I triple up on City. Marmouche was my big call. I captained him. And so when you're looking at the content creators, the top 20 before the game week started, I was the only manager to captain Marmouche over Salah. I did not think it was going to be that much of a EO difference. So that was a big gut call. My score ended up on 56 points with Jacob Murphy coming in for Foden, who plays 0 minutes. But then I just got jam all over the place. I got Saka's 8-pointer with the clean sheet wipe at the end. He comes in with 35 minutes and he scores a goal after being out for 3 months. But the trio of the Crystal Palace lads was definitely most disappointing. I could not believe the performance that they put on. That was abysmal. And you called it on the last pod. You thought it was going to be a tougher match. I did not see it that way. But Mateta only plays 57 minutes. He gets a 1-pointer. Eze and Sarr like pretty quiet, and great headed goal from the tall 6'8" lad on Southampton. So
yeah, Onuachu.
That was unfortunate.
The game we could have gone so different because Mateta hits the crossbar. Isak has a goal ruled off. He also hits the post. I mean, for a lot of wildcarders and non-wildcarders alike, the scores are somewhere between kind of, low to mid 40s to kind of mid to high 60s as a general rule for most of the engaged managers. But, we are fractions off having some huge scores, 80s, 90s to talk about because, like your guy, Marmouche, who you went bold and captained, he almost had a second. He really should have had a second, to be honest. And so there was lots of points to be had, but just bear in mind for most FPL managers, just know when the game week after international break tends to be a wonky one. And so we definitely saw that in the results and some of the score lines. I was expecting this to be a game week filled with oodles and oodles of goals. And we kind of saw the opposite. It was pretty quiet from a goal scoring perspective. Yeah, which was unusual.
Yeah, and I think a lot of managers were loading up on Bournemouth assets versus Ipswich, Crystal Palace assets versus the likes of Southampton, and then City assets versus Leicester. And only the City guys out of that trio delivered, with Kluivert not showing up, and a few folks who had Evan Nilsson get a consolation goal, 8-pointer. That was big if
Huge,
anybody
yeah.
had him. And
Saka, 8 points, even though he doesn't start. I mean, that's absurd.
Yeah, Saka, I mean, we see Cole Palmer get an assist today versus Spurs. Looked very lively, gets a 6-pointer. And then Bumo, I think, is another player. He gets a pen. He gets an 8-pointer. So managers who didn't wildcard still kind of ended up around 50 points. So, but a player that did not end up on 50 points, we just want to shout out the manager of the game week in our FPL USA Press Play Premiership Podcast League. That's a lot of P's right there, baby. But he did very well. We're going to shout out the Looney Tunes. Ends up on 78 points. Rob O'Gara. Very impressive score for this lad. Let's see. What do we got here? Wow. He's got Murillo, Konate, Aït-Nouri, and Timber. 4 clean sheets across the back line. Well done there. Kluivert
That's
gets
like
benched,
more
so
clean
gets,
sheets that I've gotten in 2025. Bravo to you, Rob O'Gara. Unreal.
I know. He even missed on captaincy with Salah, but he had Palmer for 6, Evan Nilsson with 8, Marmoush with 9, Isak with 8, and then off the bench for Kluivert, who do we got here? Of course, he's got Bumo coming in with 8 points. So
boom,
well done.
boom.
78 points is a big, big score this game week. So well done to him.
All right, before we transition to look ahead to game week 31, which is, of course, coming fast and furious starting on the weekend, just quick recap of what happened in the midweek matches. I think the big storyline is that the top 7 teams all hold serve. That means that there was really no movement at the top of the table. All those teams won. The only team that really dropped points that has ambitions of European competition is Fulham, and they lose to Liverpool in what was otherwise a really tight contest.
Arsenal.
Was Fulham, who lose to Arsenal in what was otherwise a really tight contest. They lose 2-1. I mean, that game really could have turned on a knife's edge when Muniz missed that wide open header. Pretty much an open goal tap in, and he sends that wide. Otherwise, we're not only crying because that hurts us right in the pocketbook, but that hurts in the FPL points too, because I know I was really banking on an Arsenal clean sheet. I had double Arsenal defense for the first time this season. Womp womp. I cursed them.
Womp womp. Mate, what happened? 93rd, 94th minute to lose Raya's clean sheet. Very frustrating. And it's kind of funny because I have avoided Nottingham Forest defense all season. And after Raya's clean sheet gets wiped, you're just like, oh my goodness. Everybody who still has NFO defenders or went with Sells.
Yeah, Williams.
He's been cleaning up. Nico, Murillo, Milenkovic, they've been delivering the goods even without Chris Wood. So, yeah, I think what are the other matches that really caught your eye? I mean, a lot of low-scoring matches outside of the Brighton Villa match, which Villa just destroyed Brighton, and I do not like Brighton. I despise Brighton, and so they lose at the Amex 3-0. But no Ollie Watkins start. Rashford starts at the top for the 9. I'm trying to figure out what assets I want to have on game week 33 because we have the doubles officially confirmed now. So we're going to have City, Crystal Palace, Villa, and who's the other team?
And Arsenal.
And Arsenal. That's correct. Thank you. And we're trying to pick at least 10 players from that prize pool because I think, are you and I on Bench Boost 33?
Yeah, I will be.
Okay.
I think the meta move, and again, a lot of managers that will have wild card going into 31 will be able to navigate this. You probably want to have at least a triple up on Arsenal, City, and Palace because Palace will have back-to-back double game weeks. So I think right there you have 9, and probably 2 players from Villa is enough. They don't have a great double. They play Newcastle at home and then Manchester City on the road.
I already have 2 of their defenders, Bucks. I ended up with Martinez as my backup bench boost keeper because I got to afford him. And then I also ended up with Kansa. And
You're a brave soul.
this week they clean twice. And the reason why I went with both of those guys on wildcard for my bench boost was really they also have a chance to double in game week 36. And so I was like, look, I will gladly take the chance that I will have at least a shot at a double game week keeper and defender already in my lineup for 2 double game weeks. So the odds are for the favorites in the FA Cup are that City and Villa will hopefully get to the final. And that would be great for our teams because, we have a lot of City assets all of a sudden who have not been popular all season. And then, you're going to look at the likes of Rashford, Asensio, Watkins. Like there's some decent picks that could come into double game week 36 if they make the final.
Yeah, that's ways away, at least from where I'm standing and my team planning.
Chestnut checkers, Bucks. Chestnut checkers. I was like, I need at least one guy. And then I was like, well, who am I going to have? Areola for my double game week keeper or Kepa? I didn't see it. So,
all right, we'll rate it. That's the
Save
benefits
points.
of
Points,
a high
baby.
team value right there is you got Foden, you got Emi Martinez when the rest of us are going.
Foden's a fucking problem now. Doesn't play a single minute versus a cupcake fixture while Savio owners rack up 9-pointers. And Savio, oh man, he could have 20 points. I don't know if you watched that full game. I was definitely dialed into that match since I had Marmoush captain. And Savio, this is the most shots he's ever taken in his freaking life.
Yeah, it was. I'm a Savio owner. I was happy about that performance. Let me just transition to my 2 big takeaways from the midweek game week 30
Your
action.
2 cents. What do you got for us, Bucks?
Yeah, I think first and foremost,
some pennies my way.
Yeah, the injuries I think are pretty notable. Again, we're at kind of nut crunching time in the season. This is when the tired legs start really showing up, and there's also teams that are starting to, plan their trips to Cancun or to Mallorca or to wherever the hot places around the UK at this point in time. Not quite the international man of mystery that my co-host is. So ask all travel-related questions to Brian over here.
Hacks, baby. I got hacks. Let's do it.
So, we see Gabriel go down. That's probably a season ender confirmed. Ola Aina, he's been one of the players of the season, not just for Nottingham Forest, but across all 5 big leagues. He's been insanely good for Nottingham Forest, playing defense there and bombing forward, kind of being an extra attacker at times. So he's also likely going to miss much of the run-in. Chris Wood is out for a couple weeks. Alexander Isak comes off with a niggle. So it's just starting to become, and Haaland, excuse me, I almost forgot, the robot himself. He's walking around in a boot somewhere in muggy and rainy Manchester right now. So it's just become kind of hard when you look at the top defenders and then you look at the top forwards. It's flags galore. So it just makes it really challenging. I know that was part of the reason I was forced into wildcarding in game week 30. And of course, now I have a player that was supposed to be an every game week starter for my team that's now flagged and he's missing a premium defender spot. So we'll talk about whether.
Not to mention, I think you and I have had Gabs the whole season, right?
All
so we got
season.
him at 6. We got him at 6.0. Saliba's freaking 6'2", 6'3", so now all of a sudden I got to come up with extra cash to
great shout
move him.
At least we use the ass man chip, because I really feel the Gabriel injury is killer for managers that are planning to navigate the rest of the season with all their chips in place, because all of a sudden, you don't want to be wasting transfers and then using a chip and then using another chip. And then all of a sudden, the season just gets really short really quickly, because we only have, going into game week 31, it's going to be the last 8 game weeks here.
Yeah. So what is your plan with Gabs? What are you thinking? Are you going to move him right away to another Arsenal defender, or are you going to hide him for a few weeks and make that call in 33?
Yeah. So I think my plan right now is to just hide and bank transfers, because listen, I just wild carded. I have fit starters on the bench ready to deputize. So I just think that if I can hold off a couple more games, Arsenal's playing away at Everton. That's not a bad match from a defensive point of view, but maybe there's a higher upside pick that can come about if I use 2 or 3 transfers. So that's just where I'm thinking right now. And then really I think my big takeaway from game week 30 is that golly, it's so welcome that we'll have semi-automated offside starting in
Ugh,
game week 31 because
matches
VAR.
going on forever.
Oh my God. I mean, the Chelsea review took 7 minutes. There was the most clear red card in the Merseyside derby when Tarkowski went double studs
That
up
was
straight through.
dangerous.
I
That
mean,
was dangerous.
in my travel league days when I was a youth, I saw tackles like that where the player never played again. I mean, my goalkeeper took out a guy's ACL on a 50-50 challenge. That was not too dissimilar to that. So that was just shocking. So I just think the Premier League needs to get their heads back on straight. The PGMOL needs to get their heads out of their asses. And similar to my season, it's just been an absolute blunder, clusterfuck, as one might say, if the kids aren't around. And it was a horror show for VAR this week. So they have a couple days to turn it around because, again, the matches are coming fast and thick on the weekend with game week 31. So I think with that, unless you have more to add, we could turn the page and Brighton cheer it up with kind of targeting the matches where there's going to be ultra gobs of FPL points for us to bank. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I want to start with Newcastle away at Leicester.
The final match of the game week. Look at you.
We have a triple up, but I'm concerned about Alexander Isak. Is he going to be healthy? Do they risk him for this one? I want this man to be healthy so I can triple cap him in 32. But now I'm wavering a little bit and am I going to risk saving that trip until game week 36 for those potential doubles that aren't announced? So it's definitely a bit concerning for me because I want to get at least 10 points for my triple cap. I think Isak's capable of at least one goal across 2 home games, but is he going to be fit? If he's not, then I have some problems. I mean, I don't know where I'm going to go with triple captain. I might have to save it for 36 and just pray that the likes of City get into the FA Cup final. It just leaves a lot up for chance. I don't think I'm in a spot where a lot of managers are focusing on bench boosting in game week 32. That's where I was hoping to triple captain and then use bench boost in game week 33. That's how my team is set up. So,
Brian, how about swapping that? Could your team successfully bench boost in 32 and then maybe you triple captain Saka when Arsenal have the best of the 4 double game weeks in 33? Is that something that might work for you?
Yeah, I think that one's definitely tough. I looked at it briefly.
You might not have the optimal amount of doublers for that bench. That's the issue.
Exactly. So I'm up in the air of what to do, but what are your thoughts? I want to nail this triple cap because I'm only 12 points outside the top 1,000, right? So that's my goal right now at this point in the season with triple cap, bench boost, and free hit left. I'm really hoping to end the season on triple digits. That would be an epic finish for me. And of course, to represent the pod and FPL USA against those content creators out there.
Yeah, we're cheering for you.
Good to put some respect on the name here on FPL USA. But I'm just in a bit of a tricky spot. I want to roll the transfer. I think I'm going to just play, bench Gabs for now. But I'm going to pull up my team in a second here to show you what
let me give you my perspective on Newcastle. Yeah. So it's important to know that Newcastle played on Wednesday. That was April 2nd. And they won't play till the final match of the game week. They get an extra, let's say, 12 hours of rest on the rest of the league. They play on Monday afternoon at Leicester. So I think that's important to note because Newcastle don't have any other competitions. They're out. They already won the League Cup. So they've already lifted silverware. They are solely focused on a top 5 finish to qualify for Champions League next season. And they will have the maximum amount of rest possible between those matches. Because again, they're not in the FA Cup and they're not in European competition. What that means to me is that Isak is going to be fit for Monday's match. And I expect he'll be fully fit for the double game week. No questions asked. Because at this point in the Newcastle project, they need Champions League football or they're going to lose Alexander Isak. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Spot on analysis.
I think that because of the extra day of rest, that's going to play a huge factor here when it comes to us Isak owners. I would not wobble. I would not waver with our faith in him. He's going to start. He's going to be captainable in game week 31. And I wouldn't even think about making an early move or sub him out for Ollie Watkins in kind of a panic type of move. And because of that,
taking a look,
because of my feelings so confident about Isak going to be okay for this one, I think Newcastle are going to continue the folly that is finding the Foxes. I think it's 3-0, even though they're away, even though, the Foxes, might get them at a good time. They're no challenge for a top team like Newcastle.
Yeah, even if Callum Wilson comes in and starts, they should still put up a few goals. Gordon will be chomping at the bit. I mean, we haven't seen him play in a month because his dumbass was just getting red cards in the FA Cup. So he's coming back. He should be, he picked up a little bit of a knock with England, but I think he should be fine and just re-enter the starting lineup. But just bringing up my team again because I need all the help I can get, Bucks. But here's what my game week 32 bench boost could look like, and it's actually not too bad because I have Southampton fixtures for both Martinez and Konsa. So in reality, if I needed to, if Isak were to actually pick up a big injury and I'm not going to be able to triple captain him in 32, then I think I would probably bench boost this lineup in 32 and then go to triple captaining Marmoush or Saka in 33 is probably what I would lean
the only downside I see of that, and again, we could just be fully candid here, is that you won't have the extra fixtures for your goalkeepers. Yeah, I think that's kind of the dream scenario for anyone who wild cards.
Martinez is playing home Newcastle away City.
Yeah,
in 33. So if I miss out that on him with two fixtures in 33, he's actually going to have two matches where I expect him to concede in, but and rack up maybe 3 points from save points in both of those. So it's actually not too bad. So I'll figure it out. But that with these amount of chips, I'm really just trying to thread the needle and push up as high as I can because I won't be using any chips from 35 to the run-in, and that's where I'm a little concerned against the field on anybody who uses Assman or a few of their other chips late in the game to surpass me. But I think based on what I've looked at in the top 10K, there's not a ton. So anyway, self-involved here talking about my chip strategy. But let's go back to the ticker on the matches that are coming.
So let's
talk about
next.
that match. What else?
Let's talk about Southampton traveling to Spurs. Now, I think, listen, I'm not the biggest fan of the other team in London that wears white and likes to gift Chelsea 3 points. I think the listeners, if they're loyal and they've been here before, they know that I bleed Chelsea blue. So there's no love lost between me and Spurs. Now, having said that, this coming week, I mean, from the weekend when they play home to Southampton to their first match in I believe it's the quarterfinals of the Europa League, there's no fucking around for Ange Postecoglou and whoever suits up in the Spurs shirt. You got to show up and be a professional and get 3 points in both those matches. No questions asked. I mean, they are one of the favorites to lift silverware in the Europa League. I know Manchester United is still involved in that competition, and they're playing bottom of the table Saints at home. So if there's ever a time to turn around the season, it's this coming week for Spurs. And you could really change the vibes around the whole club if they put on two really class performances. I mean, this is not a cheap team. This is not a young team. This is a team with a lot of attacking gusto, a lot of top-level professionals. But they're not going to keep a lot of those top players if they lose these two matches, that's for sure. And they're definitely going to be looking for a new coach if they don't get the results that are really, they need them. They need them so badly. The fans are starved for them. So I think
I can see Ange even getting the boots, even if they win the Europa trophy. I could still see the vibes
of, honestly, they've turned so sour around the whole situation. But because of that, I expect that there's going to be some early substitutions in that Southampton match. But I still think they have enough. I think this is 3-1 to Spurs. And it's just, if you're taking a punt on wild card, like if your strategy is wild card, then maybe free hit in 32 or 33. I honestly don't hate taking a punt on one of the Spurs attackers because that Southampton game, and again, it's so critical that they get results. I don't hate it. Specifically, someone like Son or Solanke. If you're just throwing a dart short term, I don't hate it.
I hate it.
I
I'm
know
going
you
to
do.
contradict you, and Tottenham is irrelevant right now. Maybe if they double in game week 36 and they get to progress
That's
in
what I'm
the
saying.
final,
But if you're not on the
but not
template
now.
strategy of wild card, then bench boost, then triple captain, if you're
Yeah.
still have your free hit, you're trying to mix it up.
There's no consistency. I would go elsewhere. I think, like I said before, we want Villa to play City most likely in the FA Cup final, and that game week 37 match where Tottenham would play Villa would be moved into double game week 36, and that is the time where I might have a few Spurs assets, but no time before then. So
all right,
let's talk about
your
the more
prediction?
relevant teams.
What's your prediction in that match? What's the scoreline?
Yeah, I like a 3-1 at home. They got enough firepower.
All right. Last but not least, there is that Liverpool match. They're traveling to face off against Fulham. Now, Salah, 6 games without an open play goal. Is the king dead? Is he finished?
I mean, it's him and Cole Palmer just not scoring any goals from open play over the last couple months here of
wow,
play.
I caught a stray there. Me and my boy Cole. Damn.
Yeah. But I'm glad that I read that match pretty well. Oh my gosh, we almost lost Bucks, so almost decapitated himself with the laptop for the video viewers. But so like the Everton match could be the last derby ever at that Salah plays in, and I thought it was just gonna be a tough match, and I'm glad that I went with Marmoush. The rest of the team, they look all right. Trent is still out, Bradley's still out, so it's a bit of a patchwork defense right now, but I still expect Liverpool to win this, maybe 2-1. I think they concede away, but Fulham is usually a step behind these top teams.
All right, I agree. 2-1. I think Salah gets back in the goals. I think he gets one open play goal and maybe even chips in an assist. Let's go to the best matches.
Last match. Yeah, this match coming up. I want to talk about City versus Manchester United. What are we expecting? Who is going to start? Does Foden even come back in? Who does he come in for? Man. The rest of your starters, even if you have Savio, you obviously start him and think that he put on a great performance, so he should get another nod. But I don't know what's going on with Foden. I went there because I was cash rich. I had some extra money in the pocket, and I said, why not punt? And man, I might be regretting this. If he doesn't start again, double game week 33 could be a disaster for me with that slot. And so maybe I'll have to use transfers to figure that out. So that one I'm regretting a bit. Obviously, a player who
I think he's going to start. I think you won't be regretting it for long. I think Grealish is going to be pushed out left. Foden starts through the middle in his preferred position. Even though Jack Grealish did get his first Premier League goal of the season in ages. I mean, £100 million player finally gets off the bench.
You see his transfer market value is like 35 mil now. He's literally just like a shell of himself.
He's a half a Noni Madueke at this point. It's how far the gods of the calf raise have fallen.
Yeah. He's loving life though. Jack wears it on his face. I think he's been partying a little bit in the Manchester club scene with the baddies.
Yeah, let him live. Let that guy live. Foden also probably he's been carrying Jack's water around the club, trying to get in there with the party lasses. Now I think Manchester City, they still have enough. Again, Manchester United, this is a big week for them too. They're in the Europa competition alongside Spurs. And so they might have one eye looking ahead to the match that they will play midweek. But again, Manchester Derby is always a popcorn-ready event. And I think City, even though they're on the road, I think they still have enough. But I think this is tight, 2-1 to the visitors. I don't think this is going to be like a super fun watch. But I think this is kind of like a chess match with a couple moments of brilliance.
Yeah, and I would like to see Marmoush continue to do the business, especially if I'm going to be counting on him for the rest of the season. With Haaland, I mean, there's really no reason to risk Haaland coming back in. Like, I think they have enough quality, and with these fixtures coming up, for them to likely hold on to top four. But
I don't think so.
Chelsea's putting on a pretty strong performance. But when you compare the runs for Chelsea versus City, I think City definitely has a better run in. So they're going to keep it close. But top five might just be fine, and the top five might make UCL next season. But that's what we're fighting for. And then Newcastle,
the coefficient
behind
baby.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Coefficient, and they have that extra match. So right now the table stands: Chelsea's in fourth, Man City are in fifth, but Newcastle have that game in hand, and they're only 2 points behind Chelsea. So they will leapfrog both City and Chelsea if they win in double game week 32.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to just focus on what I think is the under the radar match of game week 31, which is Forest traveling to Aston Villa. Now, these are both teams that have aspirations of lifting silverware and qualifying for the top European competitions. So I know Aston Villa still in the mix for a Champions League. Nottingham Forest looks like they'll be back in the top flight European competition, which they won, before we even, glimmers in our parents' eyeballs many moons ago. And I think this is an extremely compelling match because this will tell you all you need to know about Nottingham Forest and whether they are taking the foot off the gas even half a step in the rest of the season for the run-in, because they're in third place, probably pretty comfortable there right now, but nothing else to play for other than a top 5 finish. So will they get over the line?
Whoa. FA Cup, my friend, right?
Oh, they are still in. All right.
Yeah.
Take that back.
Won
Nottingham
FA Cup
Forest
since 1959 or 58 or something.
FA Cup and a top 5.
They're fighting on both fronts.
Miracle, could be a miracle season for Forest. But I actually think Villa are going to take this one. I think this game comes too soon for Chris Wood. Aina is going to be missing out. I think we're just starting to see
so big misses.
The season, the grind is starting to get to Forest, where they might not be as deep as some of the other top teams. And of course, injuries come for every team in the Premier League over the course of the season. So I think this is going to be 2-1 to the home side. But I think I'll be watching this game for sure. This is appointment television.
Thinking about it in reverse, a team that has all of a sudden accumulated a lot of attacking depth is Aston Villa. And when you look especially at the, foot mob, look at the 3 scorers in this match today. Rashford, Asensio, Malin. All pickups from the January transfer window. And I think Rashford is revitalized. I'm glad to see that there's still some fight in him. He's not going to go down as just a multiple season washed player.
He's not a Sancho. He's not a wanker.
Well, I mean, Rashford's always been a level above Sancho, but
I don't know if we were saying that in the Dortmund days when he was going to the Champions League. Let's rewind the tape a little bit.
Sancho, fuck's sake, the dude he can dribble past everybody and side pass, but he can't put a cross in or shoot the ball at the right time. He's got the yips. He's got the yips is what is going on.
I opened a wound that I already recently poured extra strong Himalayan salt in. So apologies to all the Chelsea fans that are listening right now.
Yeah, my eyes are definitely on Villa just to see, is Rashford the pick? Is Watkins the pick? In my heart, I'm kind of hoping that Watkins is the pick for double game week 33 because it's easy to just downgrade your Isak slot to him, and then maybe even have Watkins for the double in 36. But if Rashford's the pick, he's 6.6, 6.7 million. If he's going to play more false 9, we'll see. So it's a lot of wait and see with that team, but I'm excited to own one of their attackers for the upcoming double game week 33.
Yeah, I'll probably be there as well. Probably is going to take at least a hit. And I think that's a perfect way for us
to...
It's
hit season, baby.
Yeah,
it's hit season.
For me especially. There's going to be a lot of Bucks Wild posts on the timeline when it comes to the transfer deadline. I think with that, that's a perfect and natural transition for us to start closing out the podcast. We always tell you what our plans are. And again, even though we are, at least a full day and a half away from the deadline, which is going to happen on Saturday, early morning Eastern Standard Time. Even worse or even earlier if you're based on the Best Coast with Brian and Black Wolf. So again, make sure you set your bus team. We're now all settled in for game week 30 is all done. So you'll know who's injured, who's flagged, but it is a quick turnaround. So again, just make sure you set your lineup. And with that, let's talk about our transfer plans and captaincy shouts.
Shout it from the rooftop, Bucks. What are you thinking? So we're going to look ahead for the game week. I think each of us only have one free transfer, which is the annoying part. I was hoping to have multiple free transfers after wild card. So that part is a bit shite, right? Because we have some problems in our team. So yeah, I'm just curious what you're thinking about doing very soon.
Yeah, I'm easy does it, boring as can be. I will be captaining Mo Salah. I'm gonna keep the armband nice and boring, even though he's blankety blank. I'm going to keep myself from using profanity here and say that he's going to stop blankety blank and do the business for my team finally. So he'll be starting. I am going to risk Isak will be in my starting lineup. He's either going to play and start or he's not going to feature at all. So there's
Okay.
no in between there. So I think he has to be in your starting 11. And I've just rotated Gabriel out. So I'm benching him right now. And I put in Dan Burn, who's my kind of in-place defender.
Steady Eddie.
Yeah, easy. He'll be a starter. Plays against Leicester. I don't expect Leicester to score very many goals, if any at all. And again, just keep it moving. I'll save the free transfer. I'm in a position where I really need to bank free transfers whenever possible.
Yep.
So yeah, it sucks that I will have kind of, 6.8 million just sitting in the coffers. 6.9 million, excuse me.
The coffers.
Yeah, but it's what am I going to do? Trent is out. I already have Gvardiol. The move is just to practice patience. We'll know kind of when I move Cole Palmer maybe to Saka and have money to splash elsewhere. Maybe I do a triple move and take a hit there, which involves Gabriel. So that's kind of what I'm eyeing up with my moves.
Got to roll.
Yeah, gotta just roll. And again, this is a game week that's coming so soon after the midweek matches that I think we're bound to see some rotation. We're bound to see some wankery. So just expect the unexpected once again from FPL. Let's go to you, Brian.
Okay.
What's the plan for a top 1,000 rank finish? How are we getting there?
All right, pulled up my team. I'm in a similar spot to you. I have Gabriel. He's going to be moved out and just Livermento comes in instead of Burn in my squad. Leicester are putrid, but my main question here is, do I start Foden or do I start Jacob Murphy, who doesn't have a high ceiling, but Jacob Murphy, 9 combo assists with Isak. That is impressive. That's like almost Harry Kane and Sonny Boy kind of level dap up right there. So glad to have him on my bench for cheap, but I think I'll still be starting Foden and just hope that he's going to find his way back into some form. He had a purple patch earlier in the season where he scored like 50 points in 5 game weeks. So the upside is hopefully going to be there if he can start. It's a derby. So I think, like you said, we had Grealish come in for the easy cupcake fixture. They probably want to get him with a little bit more confidence because they're going to sell him in the offseason is my take on Grealish. So they're going to bring out the Ferrari and Foden, and hopefully he can do fucking something. But I'm going to roll, and then captaincy is, it goes back to Isak, actually. I'm going to captain Isak instead of captaining Mo Salah if we get the news that he is healthy. And
who's going to be your vice then? Who's going to be the vice?
Vice is Salah. But if we hear that Isak is just still like, it's touch and go, it's like, I'm not going to risk it at all. I'll just put it on Mo. But so far it seems like reports are that Isak, it was preventative,
Yeah, it's like precautionary. That's what I saw.
So,
but Eddie Howe always tells us the truth, so I wouldn't take that comment with a grain of
You're right.
salt.
I'll probably end up with the sheep back on Salah, just thinking about Eddie Howe and that fraud press conferences, the way he handles that business. But rest up, Isak. I need you for game week 32, please. I need you for a triple cap. So I'm hoping he's ready to go soon.
He's fine. And these these players today, they're playing so many fixtures. And yes, that's brutal on the body, but golly, our ancestors, they used to just rub some dirt on it, and they'd had a broken leg, they had their leg shot off at Iwo Jima, and they just kept going. They went on to the next foxhole.
They only played like 45 matches a year. I mean, these guys are playing how many matches a year now? It's pretty insane. So
it is.
We'll see.
Roy Keane is rolling over in his commentatorship. He sees some of these, tactical fouls. The guy just feels the defender close to him and falls right on the ground and gets the free kick. And this guy came in.
I mean, if you're in Isak's camp though, and you got a possible 125 million,
he's getting it anyway.
Coming up.
He's getting it anyway.
I think he's getting it no matter what, even if he's re-injures himself. Yeah, no, it's just risky. It's risky business. But
this is
all right. Let's get out of here, Bucks. It's been fun.
You play to win the game, and you're in it to play the game. You can't win it if you don't play it. So,
motivation for Bucks' FPL team.
Yeah. I don't know. You should see some of the scribbles and the scrabbles that is going into my FPL planner because it's taken a dark turn. There's been some Ouija boards that I drew in there, anything to get green arrows this season. But for you, my friend, the rise up the ranks continues. We're sitting here with future world number 1, Brian Chin. He's currently the best content creator, the best in FPL USA, and he's the best in our hearts. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, trying to keep rising up the leaderboard. Like I said, the goal now is top 1K would be excellent. Triple digits. There's only a few people who have that in their resume. So
how are you going to manifest winning the whole thing when you're just aiming for top 1,000? I mean, we were just talking about what our plans are for the physical World Cup, which is coming stateside in 2026. I mean, what I should be DMing you about is what 2 matches you're going to go to in 2025 when the official FPL Towers flies you out for your victory lap tour after winning FPL. I mean, come on.
We're in a group chat with former winner Jamie Piggott, and it's always interesting to be on a heater and then look back at his season, and he went very differential to really chase and go up the ranks. Like on his wild card, he went with no Salah and went with Mane, right? And like I haven't taken any advantage of a crazy move like that. And then
there's
Mane captained a few times, so there's time. So yeah, top 1,000 would be most excellent. We'll see what happens. We just need a fit player for my triple captaincy. That's the fear with Isak, right? Like I love him as a player, but if he only plays one of those matches and then plays 60 minutes and doesn't play the next, I'm in trouble. So
get
well
Callum
soon, Isak.
Is now fit.
I'm sending you good vibes.
All right, I think with that's been a great midweek special episode. We're all set to get you rocking and rolling and on another green arrow in game week 31. Hopefully you enjoyed. If so, give us a like and follow. You can find all of our content at FPL USA Press Play on socials. I'm Bucks. That's Brian. We also have a third co-host in FPL_Blackwolf. Shout out to the Dan of our hearts. And yeah, always great tuning in with the hashtag FPL USA community. And again, for more content like this and to follow along with the overall number 1 content creator in the hashtag FPL space, you got to tune into this podcast. Toodles.
Hey, shout out Dan. He ended up on 52 points this week, but he took all of our royalty money from this podcast and he spent it and got a new whip. You see this, Bucks? This guy's driving around a Stang. Wow, Dan. Big money moves right there. Love to see that. So we'll catch all of you very soon.